What's up guys, welcome back to the Piston Show. I'm Keshi Dillon and today I'm driving the new Porsche Macan 4. This is the electrified version of the Porsche Macan. And this variant costs 445,000 ringgit, whereas the base variant, the Porsche Macan, costs 430,000 ringgit. What is different between the two cars is that the Macan has a single motor, rear mounted motor, effectively making it a rear wheel drive car, whereas this has twin motors, effectively making it an all wheel drive car. So in terms of the numbers, this makes about 387 PS, and if you go into overboost mode, you get about 408 PS for a limited amount of time. And the best thing about this car is you get 650 Newton meters of torque. 650, guys. And that is good to accelerate this from 0 to 100 in just 5.2 seconds. The base Macan will do it in about 5.7. And both cars have a top speed of 220 kilometers per hour. Now, having said that, the reason why I keep referring to the base Macan while I'm driving the Macan 4 is because I'm of the opinion that you don't really need to buy a Taycan, which is a lot more expensive, when the Macan and the Macan 4 is already this good. So in this video, I'm going to take you for a walk around, show you everything there is to know about this car, and tell you a little bit about why I believe that this is a better buy than the Taycan. Let's do this. So we have to start this video by talking about the design of the new Macan, which to me is its biggest allure. It's such a good looking car. There's no doubt about it. There's no angle where you can find a bad angle, basically. It's a good looking car. You get your new daytime running lights, you get your headlight clusters over here, a bunch of aerodynamics louvers and slots everywhere to help air just sort of swoosh around the car to make it slippery, to reduce the coefficient of drag. So with EVs, coefficient of drag is always very important because you don't want a lot of wind resistance, because you want a lot of range. You get a frunk, but I can't wait to show you this, because this is probably the fastest I've ever seen a bonnet open. Watch this. You ready? 1, 2, boom! Have you seen anything move like that? Especially for a bonnet? That is really quick. So, I mean, good and bad lah. It's so, I don't know, I've never seen a bonnet move that quick, so I'm not quite sure what to make of it as yet. Anyway, you get a very usable frunk. Check out the amount of space that you get over here. So this is really cool. And then let's move to the side of the car. Over here you get 22-inch wheels. Huge! And sort of really sit well with the overall design of the car. Massive, massive wheels. And if you're thinking that, you know, these tires might be expensive to replace, dude, if you got to worry about the price of the tires, this is a Porsche Macan. Guys, come on. And for the back over here, nice car. No doubt, and these are your charging ports. Both. One thing I like about Porsches, particularly the EVs, is that they give you two chargers, twin chargers, one for the left and one for the right. Fantastic. And then this is arguably the nicest thing about the new Macan, because I mean, it's so cool, just the way that the lights light up at night, and this lights up as well, the Porsche fonts. And then to open this, you press this button over here. I like it. I really do like it. And then you get a really good usable boot space, and then you get your Bose sound system woofer over here. No spare wheel, of course, not with EVs, you're not going to get that. And to help you store stuff, you can just sort of drop the height of the car. So this lowers the rear of the car to help you keep all your heavy items and such. Very clever, but not the first car to have that technology. Let's go inside. So the interior of the Macan. Now, I'm not quite sure what to make of this, because this is a car that costs nearly $500,000 ringgit. $500,000 ringgit for this car. And inside here, it just does not seem like it costs that much. There's nothing in here that screams luxury. I'm okay with that because I like a little bit of tech to my cars, and I'm basically okay with how the interior looks like. But if you're thinking that you want to spend that much money and have, luxurious trims and such, you might be a little bit disappointed. But the good thing about Porsches is that you can customize almost everything about them. That is the awesome thing about buying a new Porsche. In fact, one of my life's goals is to be able to customize my own Porsche. I hope to be able to reach there someday, but for now, let's focus on this. You get multiple screens everywhere. You get a curved screen over here. You get your digital infotainment system, and which gives you access to all of the car's controls, wireless Apple CarPlay and such, and also video games, bro. You get a Vivaldi browser, you get to have karaoke, you get a Formula Rush video game, a Grand Prix, BB Racing. Let's check this out. So this is quite cool, and it obviously doesn't work when the car is moving, right? But when you are stationary and you need to, keep yourself entertained or keep your kids entertained and such, this is a proper video game. So guys, when you buy a Porsche Macan, you're not just buying a car, but you're buying a mobile video game arcade. Check this out. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go! No, for real, guys, this is really happening. This is really happening. This is happening in a Porsche Macan. I'm playing video games in a Porsche Macan, and it's not something that has been installed in Brothers or one of those accessory shops on, in Sunway or something. This is properly installed by Porsche. So I'm not sure what to think about this. I guess I'm okay with it. It's just what it is. Besides that, you also get a Bose sound system. But as I've said already, that the thing about Porsches is that you can customize almost everything about the interior. But one thing that I really like about the interior of the Macan is that you get your very regular air conditioning vents that you can adjust manually. Now this is a big step forward, or rather the normalization of the interior of Porsches, because with the Taycan, they did it electronically because they saw Tesla do it, they saw some Chinese EV makers do it, and they thought that the world would like it. But the fact of the matter is, it's just annoying. Because if I'm feeling cold, it just takes this. I can just do that. Half a second, maybe less. If I'm feeling warm, I do this. Again, but with an electronically controlled air conditioning vent, I have to go into the screen, convince the fella to blow air into my face. If he's not feeling in the mood, the wind might blow somewhere else. It's just annoying. Now though, it's done properly. This part over here is your charging port, your wireless charging port, and this part over here is your air conditioning controls. Now, you can also specify your Macan to have another screen over here. Now this is where your passenger can watch YouTube, Netflix and such. And it comes with something like a privacy screen or something that for the driver, where the driver will not be able to take a look, and it's just for the passenger. If you got a lot of money, go for it lah. Besides that, the seats are brilliant. Everything about this car is nice. One thing though is that from the interior, from the inside, it feels very, very big. Feels like a big, intimidating car over here. But when you step outside, you look at it, hey, it's not that big also. When you step into here, I think maybe it's because the dashboard. Look at how big the dashboard is. It's like the length of my arm, dude. That is how big the dashboard is. And because of that, it just makes the interior feel huge, big, intimidating interior. That's how big the dashboard is. That's how big. Now, let's go check out the back seats. Now the back seats of the Macan, well, it feels a little bit tight at the back here. It's, especially for people of my height, if you're anything shorter than, let's say, 5'10", 5'11", you might find this to be quite alright. But for me, it feels a little bit tight. My knees are rubbing up against the seat up ahead. But besides that, and the other thing that you need to know is the angle of the backrest is quite upright. So it pushes you to sit like this over long distances. So, but I still think that is better than the Taycan, because even the back seats of the Taycan can be quite tight as well, similar to this. But with the Taycan, you can't put your feet underneath the front seats. So it's just, you have to sit with your feet pointing outwards. So it's a bit annoying and uncomfortable. But this is slightly better than the Taycan. In fact, if I had to spend a lot of time behind the back seats of either the Taycan or the Macan, it'll be the Macan for me. Other than that, you get your own air conditioning settings. You get 4-zone air conditioning settings, 2 at the front, 2 at the back. You got multiple USB ports all around, and air conditioning vents, manual as well. Do you get side air conditioning vents? No, you don't. I think it's only the Cayenne that has that. All in all, quality is good. I think you get a lot of tech. All your tech junkies will love this car. But besides all of that, I think you should just look out for the space. If you go and take a seat inside the Macan, look out for the amount of space. Unless you have a shorter driver who pushes this seat or sits closer to the steering wheel, then it might be better. Right now though, for me, yeah, I want a little bit more space. Now, of course, the magic of the Porsche Macan is in the drive. In fact, the magic for any Porsche is in the way that it drives. It's just a fantastic car to drive. But I think the one trump card that the Macan has over the Taycan is that it just feels a lot more roomier, a lot more spacious in here. And the thing about the Taycan is, it looks good, you know, you're closer to the ground, it looks very special, sports car-ish, whereas this is your common SUV lah. But then again, I'm sitting higher, I have a lot more room, it has a much nicer drive as compared to the Taycan. And in that sense, that is why I believe that this perhaps is a better buy than the Taycan. So let's just imagine that I'm just driving the base Macan, 430,000 ringgit, right? I'll be saving 145,000 ringgit over the Taycan. The Taycan is a lot of money, 575 if I'm not mistaken. And even if you choose this, the Macan 4, you're still going to be spending 445,000 ringgit, roughly saving you about 130,000 ringgit. 130,000 ringgit, no matter how rich you are, you have to agree that that's a huge amount of saving. That's a lot of money, guys. And what can you do with that money? Up to you lah. You want to save, you want to get another girlfriend, you know, you want to customize your Porsche. You can do a lot of stuff with 130,000 ringgit. So in that sense, I think that this is a good enough electric Porsche. So you might argue that the Taycan is faster, accelerates harder and such. Yeah, you're right, for sure. But then Porsche also has the 4S, the Macan 4S, which is priced at about 525,000 ringgit, which you still save about 50,000 ringgit lah. So in that sense, if you are the type of person that likes hardcore performance, then there's always a 4S. Of course, then it goes up all the way to the Macan turbos and such, and it just becomes a ridiculous amount of power and such. Not many people will be able to properly control or indulge in that kind of power. But that's a different story. Let's just focus on this. So, for the Macan 4, I just like to say one thing. I need to get this off my chest. I think people are unnecessarily infatuated with acceleration times when it comes to EVs. Really? Does that really matter? Because in my opinion, I think the one thing that truly matters when it comes to EVs is how far it can go. You see, we live in Malaysia, and in Malaysia, our charging infrastructure is not developing at a fast enough pace that we want it to be. So in that sense, I think what matters most is firstly having your own home charger, and secondly is how far the car can go. Okay, let's just ignore the fact that you may or may not have a home charger. Let's just worry about how far this car can go. The base Macan has a range of roughly about 640 plus kilometers, if I'm not mistaken, whereas the Macan 4 has a range of 612 kilometers on the WLTP cycle. Now, that is quite good. The Taycan has some amazing range as well, but then again, you're saving a lot of money. The Taycan is basically, the range is roughly around the same as the Macan 4 and the Macan, the base Macan as well. I'm talking about the base Taycan, yeah? In that sense, I think, again, my focus is on going far. Yes, going fast, which the Macan 4 is quite fast as well, and then being able to save money. In terms of interior space and such, as I've showed you, that back seats, okay lah, not as spacious as I would like an SUV to be, but undeniably more spacious than the Taycan. I don't know why Porsche keeps insisting on, having the rear, the backrest of their back seats to be so, upright. Why can't we just have a little bit more recline? It's going to be a bit more comfortable anyway. So in that sense, I think the Macan just is a better package than the Taycan. Even the interior space over here, it's a better laid out, it's a lot more intuitive, especially the air conditioning controls and all that jazz. So, whether base Macan or Macan 4S, base Macan or Macan 4, I think better buy than the Taycan lah. It's a nicer car. You sit higher, you're more comfortable, you go the equal distance. Power figures may not be as astonishing as the ones on the Taycan, but then again, as I've already said, when it comes to EVs, particularly Porsche EVs, we shouldn't be so gung-ho about acceleration times and focus more on how far that the car can go, how fast can it charge. Again, 270 kilowatts of DC charging, 20 minutes. I mean, wow, that's good, right? It's an 800 volt infrastructure anyway. So in that sense, I think the Macan 4 or the base Macan is a good enough buy as compared to the Taycan. I just helped you save some money. Take both for a drive. Go to your dealer, ask them to test drive the Macan and the Taycan. If they don't, then too bad lah. Take my word for it. The Macan is a better buy than the Taycan. So guys, let me know what you think, because in my opinion, the Porsche Taycan, which costs 575,000 ringgit base price for the base Taycan, and the base Macan 4 costs 430,000 ringgit. Of course, you don't get a lot of stuff which the Taycan has, like the 2-speed transmission and such. But the Macan 4 is also a very capable car, and you're saving 145,000 ringgit, 145 grand. You can do a lot with 145,000. You can specify a lot of stuff for your base Macan 4. This is a nice car. You're sitting taller than the Taycan. It feels a little bit more spacious. Of course, the Taycan might be a little bit faster and such, but that, I don't know whether that warrants spending 145,000 ringgit more. For me, this is good enough, and that is why I think that if you're in the market for a Porsche, electric Porsche, this might just be worth considering. Thank you for watching, guys. Do consider subscribing.